Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about why we upgraded our emergency backup power system. And right now I'm showing you what we currently had before we upgraded it. And on top you'll see the Bluetti AC200P. And on the bottom you'll see the Bluetti B230 expansion battery. Now the unit on top, as many of you might be aware, is a 2000 watt hour unit. And it has a 2000 watt inverter on it. The bottom is a 2048 watt hour battery, expansion battery for it. And so these are both lithium iron phosphate batteries capable of 3,500 cycles each before they would hit 80%. But I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off for a moment. I'm going to show you what we now have, and I'm going to talk about why we did what we did. So bear with me for a moment. Okay, this is our new system, our new Bluetti upgrade, and we had, as you saw previously, we have the AC200P with the B230 battery. We were thinking around Easter of 2023 this year of buying another B230 battery so we could have extra storage of electricity in case we have some bad days of sun or what have you or charging. And when I looked at the website at Easter, they had the AC200 Max for about $300 more than the B230 battery. So I told my wife, why don't we just go ahead? We're still going to get an extra 2048 watt hours because we both have the same battery capacity. But we're also going to get another unit which we can now run more things with it. So in an emergency or just to save electricity around the house, we can run more things, which means we're not running those things on the grid, which means we're going to save a lot of money. And these things can be quite expensive, as you may be aware. But if they just sit there, sure, you're going to be prepared for emergency, but you're not going to get any money back on your investment. So why not buy one of these, be prepared, and save money on your electric bill to help recoup some of the cost of this unit. And so, that way it makes a lot more sense to be prepared for an emergency or power outage, but also get a return on your investment, some ROI for you in the financial world. And so this is what we've done by upgrading to the system you see now in front of you. And we have been using this a lot. We've been cooking dinners with this. We've been running all kinds of things. Our distiller, which runs for like 4 hours and takes 800 watts per hour. Run my Vitamix, 2000 watts it uses. We've used our small little oven, which was using about 1400 watts, I think, for 20 minutes to cook chicken. So we've been doing a lot of things and been able to save a lot on our electricity bill. So this is really helping. And I'll have future videos talking about more things about the Bluettis that you see in front of you and how this might make sense for your family or for your individual use or what have you. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and show you here. As you may be aware, we had 5 eco-worthy panels I've shown in previous videos. And I had them laying outside against lawn chairs. And I would have to take those out and deploy them every day, wire them up, and then at the end of the day, take them all back down, put them away, put all the wires away. So it was a bit of a hassle. So we really want to go all solar in the future, but we're not quite ready to put a whole home solar system in now. And so we were thinking to ourselves, okay, we already have a backup power system now. How can we expand that and have more of a small solar system that we could use daily to help save on our electricity bill and also help recoup some of the costs that we've spent buying the Bluettis and the solar panels. So anyway, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys up here next what we did mounting our solar panels and go from there. And at the end of the video, I might put a few items where we were running off the Bluettis to save electricity. And probably in another video, I'll have more of a video just showing what we've run and what we do run off of the Bluettis to save on our electricity bill. As you all know, the electricity seems to be going up, and so it's probably a wise idea to find ways to back up your home in an emergency power situation should you lose power, especially if you have someone in your household that's dependent on a CPAP machine or a medical device that just really can't go without it. Might be a really, really good idea for that. So just something to think about there. But you can, I believe, be prepared and save on your electricity bill with a system like this. And you can always expand a system as necessary, little by little. So you don't have to do it all at once. So if the cost seems a bit much at first, you just remember, just do it step by step and you'll get there. So anyway, with that said, let me go ahead and show you what we did with our solar panels to make this system make a lot more sense and a lot easier on us to use every day.
Okay, real quick, just before we go to show you the solar panels, I wanted to also tell you the reason we also got the AC200 Max instead of another B230 battery. The AC200 Max will communicate with the B230 batteries as well as charge it. So we used to have to hook up the B230 battery, as you saw in previous video, to the D050S DC charging enhancer, which with 3 eco-worthy 195 watt panels, I could get about 350 to 400 watts into the B230 battery, which of course will be a lot slower than the 700 plus watts I'm getting now with the 5 panels on the roof. And so being able to charge the B230 with the AC200 Max is a lot easier and to do and repeat every day, just because that amount of solar, the 700 to 800 to 900 watts we can get with those 5 panels, can be used to rapidly charge the B230 battery. And my wife and I are planning to get a second B230 battery, and the AC200 Max can handle 2 of those batteries together and can charge both of them. So also we'll have one unit that have over 6,144 watt hours of capacity. So if we ever have a need to run a heavy load for a longer period of time, we'll be able to do so with the AC200 Max and the 2 B230 batteries. Not to mention, we'll be using one of those B230 batteries most of the time with the AC200P, as we have 2 small air conditioners in the house, a portable one and a window one, which we plan to use in the summer here in Florida. We plan to use the Bluettis to power those, and so we're not powering them off the grid. So anyway, let's get to the solar panels here, and I'll show you how we've made it a lot easier to have a small home solar system in our house, and how it's easier for us to just plug it in every day and recharge it. Okay, we're on top of my roof here on the house, and I'm showing you the 5 eco-worthy panels mounted on top of our screen room, which is a metal roof. I did not want to drill holes into our shingle roof, so went ahead and put them up on the roof, and this has been a great increase in the amount of times we can charge and the durations that we can charge over putting the panels out in the yard like you might have seen in other previous videos. And pretty sure I can fit, I'm gonna actually end up putting another panel here, making it 6 on the first run, and I could put another 6 over here should I wish to do so. And now we're gonna go down into the screen room here, and I'm gonna show you how I wired everything into the house to make it really easy and convenient to recharge our Bluettis and make it a lot less of a hassle as far as deploying solar panels in the yard and these kinds of things. Okay, we are inside the screen room. I'm going to show you how I brought the cables in from the solar. As you can see, I have it in metal conduit. It's metal conduit coming from the roof into our screen room here, going down in metal conduit and going through the wall here into our Florida room. So I'm going to go over there now. Again, you can see this is a metal roof. You just have to be careful where you step on it to make sure you're walking on the beams. If you have one of these roofs, don't walk here in the middle. They'll most likely separate and you'll fall through. So just a safety warning there. So getting to our Florida room, this is where the wires come in for the solar panels. And I do have a fuse box here that I installed. And it's pretty nice. It has MC4 connectors on top, MC4 connectors on the bottom. Just FYI though, I can put a link. I bought this off Amazon, and you have to put this box together. So when you get it, it's going to be in a box with all the parts, but it's really not that hard to do, especially if you wired things before. This is a 15 amp, I believe 400 volt system, or I'm sorry, fuse. And the reason I did that is because the Bluetti can take, I think it's between 12 amps and 15 amps, depending on which model it is, the AC200P or the AC200 Max. So this is a safety in case I get a surge of voltage coming down that should trip, protecting our
Bluettis from damage. And then what I do is I take these wires here are actually the wires I used to run between the foldable solar panels to be able to run them in series. So anyway, I have them running down behind our freezer just to be out of the way. They aren't touching anything that could harm them or heat up or anything. And I just run it in to here, and we charge both the units here. Again, these two charge together, AC 200 max and the B230 battery. And eventually when we get the second B230 battery, which will run with this unit, as we've showed you in a previous video, what I can do is I can actually charge them all together here with the AC 200 max. So that way, if I'm bringing in 800 watts of solar, I can use all that to power or recharge the B230 battery. And like I said previously here, we did have the D050S to charge this. And with 3 of those eco-worthy panels, we could get about 350 to 400 watts coming in, which is about 500 watts max of the D050S charger. But this makes it so much simpler to recharge these types of batteries, whether it's the B230 or the B300 battery, which is compatible with the AC 200 max, as they can communicate and talk to each other, like I said prior. And again, the B230 batteries and the B300 batteries can be used with the AC 200P. So keep that in mind. If you already have one of these units, you can just get an extra battery to have more battery capabilities or more battery storage to be able to run loads longer. So something good to keep in mind. Now, the panels on the roof made a huge difference. And I just lost my paper. I think it blew away in the wind. Let me pause this and find it. Okay, sorry about that. I found the paper here. I gotta be able to read at the same time. So I did this on April 26th. I wrote May, I don't know why. It was April 26th because today is only May 9th. And the panels on the roof, so at 9 o'clock in the morning, we're seeing with 5 of the eco-worthy 195 watt panels, we're seeing 240 watts coming in. About 9:38 a.m., 280 watts coming in, and I wrote down good sun. This is all good sun, no clouds or anything coming in. 10 a.m. bringing in 320 watts. 10:16 a.m., 420 watts. 10:30 a.m., 444 watts. 10:45 a.m., 468 watts. 11 a.m., almost 500 watts. Again, good sun. 11:13 a.m., 523 watts. 11:37 a.m., 580 watts. Now I stopped there, and the reason I stopped there is because everything that we were charging in the AC 200P and the AC 200 Max with the extra B230 battery were topped off by a little after, about 11 a.m., 11:30 a.m., 11:45, something like that. So with that said, I have noticed here, and I live in Florida, so we do have a good amount of sun. I have noticed that we typically get sun that we can charge. So this morning, I put the AC 200P because we use it to watch television. So when we watch television at night, we don't pay any electricity for our 50-inch LED television and our NVIDIA Shield that we use to watch TV. And so about 8:30 this morning, it was only pulling in 8 watts, and then it went up. And I'll tell you what I have seen with those 5 eco-worthy panels on the roof. I have seen 700, 800 watts coming in quite steadily, a little bit more in the afternoon. I've seen, with those 5 panels on the roof, I have seen power coming in late into the evening, 300-400 watts at times. It will drop off obviously as the sun starts to go down. And those panels I showed you on the roof, they're not angled south as a lot of people would. They're actually angled to the west. And so with our house, the sun, if this was our house, the sun goes right over our house like this. And it varies by the angle. So in the winter, it's more like this to our house. The summer, it goes straight over. And it just varies throughout the year how the sun goes over the house. But it goes directly over the house. So usually by 7:30 in the morning, we're getting something on those panels. Even though those panels, the sun's coming up over here, and the panels are angled this way, west. So, and I thought that might be an issue when we put them on the roof. I told my wife, I'm not sure what they're going to do on the roof, but I was pleasantly surprised that they did quite well. And the nice thing about having those panels on the roof, or somewhere, you could mount them in the yard too, is that you can charge for a lot longer durations. Because as I told my wife, there were times where it was cloudy out and I was thinking, oh, I'm not going to get anything. So what's the point of doing all the hassle, putting the panels in the yard, wiring them all together, running the cables back inside and all this kind of stuff, which you've kind of seen in other videos. But and the other thing is emergency or crisis. So it's easier to keep these units powered up when you have solar panels mounted on the roof or on the yard. And where I showed you on our roof, there's no shading on that roof. It's always getting sun all day long. And I have seen in midday with cloud cover covering the sun, 200 and 300 watts coming in with those 5 panels. And so we will be expanding those panels to 6 up there. And we are going to be acquiring 3 more panels to be able to use the D050S to bring in an extra 350 to 400 watts. So real quick, AC 200 Max can bring in 900 watts of solar on this leg. This is a solar input. Hopefully my autofocus is working. And with the D050S, I can bring another 350 to 400 watts with our 3 eco-worthy panels, as I've tested, and that's what we can bring in on this side. So if we can bring in 900 watts here, let's say, with the 6 panels, I'm not sure until I put them up there what we're gonna get. Bring in another 350 to 400 here. Let's just go with a conservative number of 350. That would be 1,250 watts to recharge our AC 200 Max, which means if we have heavy loads in the evening or prior to the sun coming out, we can recharge these units much, much faster. And you know, as the specs I said, the AC 200 Max can bring in 900 watts of solar, and the AC 200P can do basically the same thing. So solar comes in here, max is supposed to be about 700 watts. You can use the D050S on this side to bring another up to 500 watts, but in my experience with those 3 195 watt eco-worthy solar panels, which I highly recommend, we've been very impressed with them so far, I can bring about another 350 to 400 watts. Now the current 5 panels I have on the roof I showed you can easily bring in 700 watts. So let's say 700 watts plus 350. So I'm able to recharge the AC 200P with 1,050 watts total if need be, which greatly reduces our recharging time for these units. And if you're in a crisis and there is no power and these all have pass-through charging, it makes it so much easier to run loads during the day, like say your refrigerator and your, we have a deep freezer. It's not the prettiest deep freezer in the world. I tried painting it actually, and I didn't clean the surface before I painted it, and so it peeled off pretty easily. So word of the wise, if you get one of these and you don't like the white color, you want to paint it, make sure you clean it off really good to get any oily residues off, and that way the paint will stick. And this was paint designed specifically for appliances, so it's not like I just used some paint that wasn't made for this. It was made for appliances, so I should shut this door here. Oh yeah, and one quick note here, I did put with a blue painter's tape on and off here because it doesn't actually say it on the box, which I have other family members here, so in case they had to turn this off for some reason in an emergency, or if they wanted to check the status and they wondered why it wasn't working, they would be able to see it's in the on position or in the off position. So anyway, with that said, I know I'm long-winded. Hopefully this is being good for you guys. In the rest of the video here, I'm going to show you what we've been using there are 2 units for. Again, now we have 2 units, 2 complete solar generators, both capable of over 2,000 watts, 2,000 plus, or over 2,000 watts for the AC 200 Max and 2,000 watts on the AC 200P, as you're aware. So coming up next, guys, I'm going to show you some things around the house we've been using these with to save money and to reduce our electric bill, to help recover some of our investment money. As I said, these can be quite expensive, so some people may not or may balk at buying one of these units to be prepared, but you can be prepared and save money at the same time. Yes, you have to invest the money, as I said, into these units, but you can get some of that money back by using them to reduce your power bill. So with that said, let's go ahead and show you some of the videos here of what we've been using our Bluettis to power. Okay, we're running our little oven here, and we're running it at about 400 degrees. Not sure if you can see that there. Cooking chicken usually has to cook for about 20 minutes. We are running it with the Bluetti, and we do have solar coming into the Bluetti at the moment. And you can hear the fans just kicked on. So hopefully you can see that. So we're bringing in 540 watts of solar roughly, and we're using about 1,431 watts to run the oven, and we're going to have to run it for about 20 minutes. So we should be okay, as this is the AC 200 Max with the B230 battery, so a total of almost a little over 4 kilowatts total. So that is running our little oven. Okay, still running the toaster oven here, and we're running it here at 400 degrees. And it turns on and off. The elements inside turn on and off. So at times, as you might have seen in the screenshot video of the toaster running on the Bluetti AC200 Max, it'll pull 1400 watts, and then it will turn off for a while because the elements in this oven will turn on and off as it's needed, sort of similar to a large oven would. So anyway, it's kind of nice in a way because when the elements turn off, it's not pulling any watts, and we have solar coming in, as you probably saw on the previous screenshot, bringing in about 540 watts. So that's helping to recharge the battery. We're going to be running this for about 20 minutes. And so overall, I don't expect it to drain our AC200 Max down a whole lot, just because it's not running for an entire hour or something, and we do have solar coming in. So anyway, so AC200 Max running a fairly large toaster oven. So just wanted to show you how that looks on the AC200 Max here, and we'll go back, and so you're not bored looking at a toaster oven. We'll come back and look at the, yeah, so you went back to, it's not pulling any watts right now because the elements are off in the oven, and you know, as it needs them, it turns them on, but we're pulling in steadily 530 plus watts of solar, and both batteries on the AC200 Max and the B230 holding about 94%. And there you go, it just kicked in, so now it's pulling, the oven's pulling in 1445 watts, 1450 now. But again, it's offset a little bit by the solar coming in, so very good. We'll be running the toaster here shortly, so that'll be coming up next. Okay, we're gonna try toasting. We have a double toaster here, or a quad toaster, whatever you wanna call it. And each side we've already tested runs at 800 watts per each side. So total for both sides is 1600 watts. And we're gonna run it with our Bluetti here, the AC200 Max, which is right now in conjunction with the B230 battery. And we just got done using the toaster oven, and it drained it down probably 3 or 4%, but we're at 93% with about 520 something watts of solar coming in. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off this part of the video, and I'm gonna show you the app as I start toasting. So you can see what it looks like as we're pulling it from the Bluetti through the app. Okay, I'm going to turn on the toaster here, the quad toaster. And you see the Bluetti is going to jump up to about 1.6 kilowatts. It's about, as I said before, it's about 800 watts for each side of the toaster. Now we're not pulling, obviously we're not toasting for a complete hour, so pulling 1.6 kilowatts for a few minutes isn't really too bad. It's not going to really bring down your battery a whole lot. Especially since we have the two batteries here, the B230 and the AC200 Max's battery. And a real quick note, I wanted to talk about AC efficiency. So I watched another YouTuber's video, and I won't say the name of the guy. Very nice guy, but he was doing his depth of discharge on pulling a steady AC to see the AC inverter's efficiency in the AC200 Max. And what you have to realize is Bluetti only allows their units to go down to 10%. So if you have a 2000, if they list 2048 watt hours of battery, you only actually have 90% of that to use, because to protect the battery from damage and those kinds of things, they cut the depth of discharge at 10%. So once the unit reaches 10% of battery capacity, it's going to shut off to protect itself. So given that YouTuber's information, he had calculated off the 2048 watt hours, which gave him an 80% efficiency. But when you calculate the actual amount that you can use off the battery, which is 90% of that 2048 watt hours, you actually get 88% AC efficiency. So the videos I've watched that other YouTubers have done on the AC200 Maxes is it's very, very efficient on the AC and the DC side. And the toaster just came up for one side, and now you can see the other side still pulling about 822 watts. So that's our quad toaster, and you just heard it pop the other side, so it went back to 0. Okay, the AC200 Max, along with our B230 battery, although you could do this with just the AC200 Max. Cooking rice. So we got our induction cooktop here, good amount of rice. And I'm gonna go ahead and go to the app so you can see me turn everything on. We're gonna set this at 230 degrees Fahrenheit and go ahead and cook our rice with our Bluetti over here. So give me a moment to do the screenshot here. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is turn on the AC portion of the AC200 Max. And now our induction cooktop has come to life. I'm going to go ahead and set it for 230, which is what we cook rice on typically. All right, got it set. I'm going to go ahead and hit start here. You should see it jump up here on the AC output. So it usually takes probably 15, maybe 20 minutes to cook rice on here. So I'm not going to run it the whole time for you guys, but just to show you, we're pulling in 620 watts of solar right now and putting about 616 watts into our induction cooktop, cooking our rice. So we're actually bringing in almost what we're using. So that's pretty good. So there shouldn't be a lot of drain on the batteries here. So that is us cooking rice with our AC 200 Max with the B230. All right, we are still cooking the rice here, but I am charging a battery charger to charge two AA nickel metal hydrate batteries, and I am charging the iPad 11 Pro. And we were pulling in about 400 to 600 watts of solar, but now the clouds have gone over the sun a bit, so we're only bringing in about 136, 138 watts. But the battery percentage hasn't gone down a lot. But anyway, just wanted to show you that little quick update as we go ahead and continue to cook the rice. And as you can see, the rice has finished. Okay, we're going to be running the Vitamix off our Bluetti AC 200 Max comboed with the B230 battery. I'm making a frozen drink, so this is going to be probably quite loud on the video, so I do apologize. I'm going to go to the screenshot of the Bluetti app so you can see what this Vitamix is going to pull from our Bluetti AC 200 Max B230 combo. So again, it'll probably be quite loud, so I do apologize. So here we go. I'm gonna get things set up and go to the screenshot of the app so you can see how it does running the Vitamix. This is all frozen. This is bananas and frozen fruit. This whole drink is frozen solid, so it's gonna pull some juice. So here we go. Okay, so here we are. We've recouped about 2% from since we ran the oven and the toaster. And now we're going to run the Vitamix. So here we go. As like I said, it's going to get quite loud, so I do apologize. But first I have to turn on the AC part, so give me a moment. Forgot to do that step. Okay, here we go. Now we should be able to go. Okay, so while some YouTubers I'm sure test smaller blenders, this is the Vitamix pulling quite a load, 2,000 watts to blend the frozen smoothie I made, which is about 64 ounces. So ran it like a champ, and I have done this off the AC 200P. This was pulling just under 2 kilowatts when I looked at the screen. When I ran this off the AC 200P, it was pulling 2,150 watts off the AC 200P, which is 150 watts more than its maximum for the inverter. But it would not trip off. It would continue to allow me to blend until I'm done. It would list the fault on the AC 200P, but it would keep blending. So that's a note about the AC 200P running the Vitamix like we just did with the AC 200 Max. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Just wanted to show you our Bluetti AC 200 Max running our 6,000 BTU window air conditioner. And this is the air conditioner running. Sorry, it might be a little loud. You can see the temperature in the room is the bottom number. 91 degrees in the room, 80 degrees outside. And running it off the AC 200 Max and the B230 battery. Sorry, there's not a lot of light right now at the moment. I'll show this on the app screenshot too. I'll record the screen. But you can see the window AC unit is pulling about 485 watts. And this is about 4 kilowatts total of battery power. So you got 2,048 watt hours in the AC 200 Max, 2,048 watt hours again in the B230 battery. So a total of 4,096 watt hours. So theoretically, off the top of my head, rounding this up to about 500 watts, we should be able to run the window unit here, the 6,000 BTU air conditioner, for probably 7.5 hours comfortably. Just remember that Bluetti does have a depth of discharge cut to 10%. So once the battery does get to 10%, it will shut off to protect the batteries. That's a safety feature. Not necessarily a negative, obviously, but you want to obviously protect your investment. So this is the Bluetti AC200 Max, comfortably running our window AC unit, which is a 6,000 BTU unit. Okay, quick picture of the app, showing what you would see on the app of the AC200 Max for the Bluetti. You can see you're pulling 488, 490 watts, running a 6,000 BTU air conditioner.
Darling, I've been tempted by the darkness.